Yeah. And before I begin, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe this video. Also, please smash those likes, smash the likes, and that'll let me know that you like the video, you like the content that I'm making for you guys, for your enjoying pleasure. And please comment after the video is complete so you'll know exactly where I stand and where you stand between me and my channel itself. Alright, let's jump into it. I made 3 videos today, probably 3 or 4 of them, and probably 4, and each one of them pertaining to I didn't like. Please go and check those videos out. I made 4 of them, and all 4 videos were not happy videos. And right now, I'm still not happy because see, last week game against New York Giants, I did not make a week recap. A week to week recap video that I normally make. The last one that I made with the New York Giants, when the New York Giants beat the Eagles by in a blowout fashion, 34-20, whatever it was. No, 34-17, something like that. What the score was? I know the Giants blew the Eagles out in last week's game, and I was not happy with that video, so I made an unhappy video, and that video was my week. This is week 7. It was a week 6 video. Please go check that video out. And that's about the New York Giants. Like I said, I didn't make a week recap. That video that I made was my week 5 recap. That's what that video was. All right, now off that video and into this one. The Eagles won this game, not in the previous of fashion, 28-22. They won by 1 touchdown. It was a game that the Eagles had to have, and they did. They beat a team that was coming off a bye week, actually. And so, like I said, the game was 20-22. They won by a score. Now, if the Eagles have let Minnesota Vikings hang around a little while longer, the Vikings would have beaten the Eagles today. But that wasn't the case, like I said. And we got 3 players who did real well on offense. I'll speak of them later into this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into the game recap, and then from the game recap we'll go into the player statistics, and that's where I normally start. So I'm gonna get right there at this time. Jalen Hurts had a breakout game. This is the first time he's thrown for 300 yards since 2023. That's a long time, people. He was 19 or 23, which he only missed. Which only had 4 incomplete passes for 226 yards, a 14.2 average, 3 touchdown scores he thrown, and 158.3 passer rating. That's the highest passer rating that any player can get at any moment. I think if he had thrown for 4 touchdown passes, it probably would have been 160 something. It would have been. How about 162, 163 point whatever. Probably what the rating would have been if he had thrown for 4 touchdown passes. We only threw for 3. The rushing attack. Saquon Barkley did not have a good game, but he has 18 attempts for 44 yards, 2.4 average. Now with the long, no score. Bisbee was 1 for 11.0, no score. Hurst was 4 for -10, -2.5. He only had 1 long and 1 score. That's the one that he ran for the 1 yard and got pushed out of bounds. I remember that play. Okay, receiving. And here's where the breakout games begin, right here. Here's where Jaden Hurts got most of his yards. Devontae Smith, excuse me, he had a career game with the most catches in his career. He had 9 catches for 183 yards, a 20.3 average. 79 was the long, 1 touchdown. And A.J. Brown, for the first time since week 2, I believe, had a 100-yard game. This is his second 100-yard game this year. He had 4 catches for 121 yards, a 30.3 average, 45 with the long, 2 touchdown end zone scores. Great. And Dallas Goedert with 3 for 18 yards, 6.0, 11 with the long, no score. Shipley with 1 for 7, 7.0. 7 with the long, no score. Bixby with 1 for -1, -1.0, -1, no score. And Barkley with 1 for -2, -2.0, -2, no score. He got tackled twice. He got tackled twice in the end zone. Meaning he got tackled twice in the backfield, and that would lead to those -2 yards in receiving. And that hurts as well, because he could. I think if he had like 3 or 4 catches for that for 35, 40 yards, that would have been a big help in the receiving department, but it wasn't. So because this the first time he's had 1 catch for -2, -2.0, -2, no score. At the first in his career, I believe that's what happened to him. All right, now here's the defense. Again, like I always say, I go tackle for loss, assists, sacks, interceptions, 4 fumbles. I can tell you now, there were no 4 fumbles among none of our defensive units. So I'm going to put it out there. Zach Bond was 6-4-0-0-0. DeJean was 5-1-0-0-0. Killer Ringo 4-1-0-0-0. Mitchell was 4-0-0-0. McCoby Dean was 3 for 3-0-0-0. Jahar Campbell was 3-0-0-0. Carter was 3-0-0-0. Blankenship was 2-2-0-0-0. Davis was 2-1-0-0-0. O'Dory Jackson before the injury was 2-1-0-0-0. And Uchi was 2-1, 1 sack, 0-0. No Jumbo with 1 sack, 1 sack, 0-0. Patrick Johnson was 1-0-0-0. And Makuba was 1-2-1, 1-2-0. 1 interception, 0 on for a fumble, and Jalen Hunt was 0-1-0-1 interception, 0. Okay, and here is the kick returns. Gibson was 5 for 128 yards, 25.6 was the long, was the average, 37 was the long, no score. Shipley was 2-58, 29.0, 33 was the long, no score. No punt returns. And Jake Elliott was 0 for 1, no average, no long, no blocks, 4 for 4. Because he had I think he missed the second field goal too. Which second field goal is the one probably what you're referring to. I know he missed one in the fourth quarter, and that was the first miss in many moons, according to analysts. But he had a bad game. I have to admit that. Earlier had a bad game today. He really did. And Brian Mann with 3 for 146 yards, 48.7 was the average. The long was 53, 1 touchback, and he had 1 inside the 20. Now, let's take it back to the man, Jalen Hurts. Now, Hurts, I really don't know what to say. It ain't much to say. When you throw for 300 yards for the first time in 2 years, that's saying something. They couldn't run the ball, as I gave the stats on Saquon for 44 yards on 18 carries, 44 yards. That is a 2.4 average. That is a below average. Saquon it's a 4.0 and 5.0 average when it comes to running balls. I felt Saquon did not get enough carries. He should have had more carries than this, but when you got a banked up offensive line that constantly putting in players after they get hurt. So it kind of like I said in one of my last videos, it ruins the chemistry of the offensive line because you putting guys in places they probably haven't played in a long time, but it's always good to have players that can come in and pick up where you left off when you're injured. Now Lane Johnson played a pretty good game today. He probably was the only one who didn't suffer any significant injuries today on the line, but Landon Dickinson went out again with a apparent ankle injury, so he's more likely to not play in this game against the New York Giants. And then we had what's his name, the center, he also had a back injury. So now we got to fix. No, say back injury. It's either back injury or ankle injury, one of them. But all I know is he did not come back in the morning game. He was questionable. So when you're questionable and the game is still going, more likely you will not be able to return. Saquon Barkley also suffered some injuries as well, but he wound up going back into the game. But he was okay. But he did suffer a couple of nicks and bruises there. So he more like to be on the go again against the New York Giants. Let me see who else got hurt on that side. Everybody on defense played pretty well except for Odori Jackson, who also went out with an apparent injury. Some got something to do with it. They say he had a neck stinger. So because if you guys watched the game, when he got hit, he stayed down on the ground for a long period of time, but he was able to move. But he still having issues with his extremities. They say something about his fingers from going numb. So that only occurs to a finger. If you got a finger, it numbs your hands a little bit. So you have no feeling. So he had no feelings in that game. So he more like to be back next week. But it depends on his MRI, what they're gonna have tomorrow, I believe. Because they got to leave Minnesota immediately. Because they probably leave Minnesota tonight. So they probably back in Philadelphia tomorrow morning, late tomorrow morning, like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, 3 or 4 in the morning probably. Because they leaving now from there to Philadelphia. You know what's is it a bus ride? It's either a bus ride or it's a jet jet. But I think it's a bus ride. I'm in Minnesota, not very far from Philadelphia, so it's probably a bus ride. But anyway, however the transportation they did for them, it could be a trip back. And so Dory Jackson will have an MRI. A lot of these guys who got dinged up, like Landon Dickinson, gonna have an MRI. A lot of these guys that went out with injuries on offense and defense are gonna have MRIs next week. So it could be about 5-6 players on the team. They're gonna have MRIs next week to figure out their situation for them playing next week, or would they have to set out one the way or the other? Something got to happen. I do know that one of the commentators said something right that made a lot of sense. The Eagles do not have no strong outside rusher. What I mean by that is they got no one that's strong at the point of attack. The last person they had strong at the point of attack was Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham was one of them guys that can hold his ground, and Brandon Graham they very seldom left the rush lanes. He only rushed when he had to, but if there was a run play, he was not going to let you get out. The Eagles do not have nobody of that caliber. So if the Eagles do go out and make a trade before the deadline, they're looking at trade Henderson, whatever his name is, from the Bengals. Now, he may be the only guy that I can consider that's strong at the point of attack. He's hard to move. He can hold his ground when it comes to rushing lanes. So if the Eagles can get him during the bye week, he'll have enough time to digest some of Vangio's defensive schemes and then play the week after the bye. So Henderson, the only guy that I can possibly think of that has a good chance of becoming the Philadelphia Eagle. But I know one damn thing: if he has a breakout game, if the Eagles do give him, if he has a breakout game or two going into the playoffs, the Eagles might need to give him some re-sign to a long-term deal. But he gonna command. He wants a large contract. The Bengals wouldn't give it to him. He's playing on a 1-year deal with the Bengals right now, and that 1 year deal is a it's a significant pay raise as well. So if they get him, that's gonna take up a lot of the Eagles' salary cap going into the following year, which means they're gonna let some players go, like as usual, and some guys they're gonna have to resign. They're gonna have to get some guys to review their contracts so they can make room to sign Jalen Carter or Davis, whoever they're gonna sign first, and get Henderson under a long-term deal, because if he play good now, you can't let a guy like that go off going to the market. You can't do that, because you can get away some high draft picks for a guy for a rental. And so you don't get away no second or third round draft pick for a rental. You don't do that. Maybe a fourth, fifth, or sixth, seventh round pick, yeah. But if it's a fourth round pick or higher, you do not let guys like that get away. No, you do not. So we'll see what happens with that trade and for some concern. But like I said, Brandon Graham was the last player the Eagles had that could hold his ground and do not leave his rush lane very often. He very seldom did that. So if they get Henderson, that'll be a good deal for them. It really would. But we'll see what happens there on that front card, because the Eagles now got 2 more weeks to go before trade deadline comes to an end. We'll see what happens there. But man, the Eagles winning football game 2022. But like I said, if I'm still not happy about this game, because they are not playing good football right now. They're not playing good ball. I mean, don't need me lying about that. All the Eagle fans know that. I mean, we got the win. We 5-2, and I'm proud of the record, 5-2. But I'm not proud of how we got it. All I know we 5-2. We could easily be 2-5. The way we've been playing this entire first half of the season. You know what I'm saying? But we 5-2. We stand along top of the NFC East. Now the Washington and the Cowboys playing today. Whoever wins their game is going to take second place in the division. And I'm going to keep my eyes focused on that as well. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy this content that I'm making for you guys. Please comment, like, share, subscribe to this video. And as always, I'm the Almighty One. And I am out of here. The Eagles win the game 28-22. Not a happy game. I'm not thrilled about it, but it was all won with the man, Jalen Hurts, who threw for 300 plus yards, 3 touchdown scores, pass rate 158.3. Yeah, 158.3 was his rating. So I'm out of here, y'all. See you guys next week, and this is week 7 recap.